Greetings everyone. Welcome to another great video by Stowell Healthcare. My name is Emmanuel. This is our special edition of our mini clinic edition. In today's video, we're going to go over the revenue cycle in less than 5 minutes. This here is the revenue cycle in the US healthcare system. It's a very complex system. My name is Emmanuel. My job is to be your trainer, your advisor, your coach, your administrator, as someone who could help you to make it more easier and alleviate the stress of navigating through the healthcare system. This here is something that I put together on the revenue cycle, and I'll say it took me at least 10 years to master the full spectrum of the revenue cycle, and I'm going to break it down to you in about less than 5 minutes. What I did here, I divided the revenue cycle into 10 separate blocks, and each of the blocks consists on different segments. Let's take a look at the first one. The very first one, it's what I refer as the number one block here. I refer this to the credentialing and enrollment. This is where the provider initially the setup process part of the revenue cycle for the practice, where it encompasses the provider credentialing, set up the provider fee schedule, get the provider credential with the facility. I refer this as the credentialing and enrollment, sign up contract with different insurance. The next block, I refer to this as the patient's registration. Under the patient's registration, we have registering the patient's demographics on the practice management system. We have insurance registration. We have scheduling, benefit verification, referral, and prioritization. The next block, it's what happened at the time of service, which I'm not sure if everyone can see. It's the check-in process of the patient. That's where we go over the verifying of the insurance information that was already provided by the patient. We collect copays, deductible, past due balances, as well as services rendered. The patient goes in and so forth in checkout process and the follow-up of future appointment, as well as creating future recalls for future appointment if necessary. The next block, this is after the progress note is completed by the provider, and this is the claim submission come into place. The next segment is the charge entry, claim scrubbing, claim submissions, EDI reports, and so forth. So this here is cleaning up the progress note, getting ready, and send it to the payer. Number 5, once claim is submitted, we go over payment posting. Payment posting, again, not necessarily mean that it's actual payment. It's correspondence from the payer. Most payers are sending something we refer to it as ERA and EFT and ACH deposits. So this encompasses of every transaction that came back or correspondence come back from the payer. I refer to this as payment posting. We're posting paper EOBs, checks from the patients where payments was applied to his deductible, co-insurance, and so forth. This is block number 5. Followed by block number 6, which I refer to as the denial management. Of course, not every single claim is gonna get paid. There are some claims that's gonna get denied, so they have to be managed. That's block number 6. And we break it down by different segments of that block. There is some sort of denials. Like for example, we have eligibility denials, COB, coordination of benefits denials, coding denials, duplicate denials, filing limit denials, and so forth. Blocks number 7, Let me bring this right in the middle of the screen so everybody can see it. It's the patient statement. After claims are submitted, payment are posted, we identify there are claims that have been denied that we need to bill to the patient. This is where we print statements. Statements can be printed in the office or outsource it to a vendor that will print the statement for you, and electronic statements. And we send the statements to the patients to either create a dialogue to communicate to the patient, because not necessarily every statement goes out to the patient it result in payment. They are, it's open up a dialogue for the patients to communicate. Sometimes we need additional insurance info, or we need the patients to contact the insurance to give the insurance additional info, and so forth. Block number 8. This is the AR follow-up process. The AR follow-up process, which referred to as still part of the claim management. It's claims that have been 30, 40, 60, 90 days unpaid. They have to be some sort of follow-up process. The standard benchmark, for instance, for me, it's for all claims to be adjudicated by the payer between 30 to 35 days at the latest. But most of my payers are paying the claims between approximately about 23 to 25 days. Again, this part of the section here, if we identify that the claim has not been paid and it needs to be followed up to see what's the status, whether if there's information is needed from the provider, what information is needed, what we need to do to get the claim to finalize to be processed, either paid or denied by the payer. The next portion, which is one of the most complex section, is the patient's collection. That's one of the most complex part of the revenue cycle, in my opinion, after 25 years of doing revenue cycle. Patient's collection. Here, once the patients drop into this bucket, somehow there must have been something along the line here that we didn't follow through on, but not necessarily mean this is the end of the world. Some patient takes longer to communicate with us. Some patient needs that collection letter for them to respond. So collection, it's a part of the revenue cycle. I'm not transferring to collection agency. Transferring collection agency, it's the last resort. The last resort is there are times that it must be transferred. So to me, sometimes once you transfer the patients to the collection agency, then you pretty much dismiss the patient, because the patient has other options. The patient can go to different practices. The patient has, it's a competitive US healthcare system. The patients can go anywhere else. Next, report and analytics. Final block. The final block here, report and analytics. This is where we have identified this as where we need to study the practice health. We study the payer's behavior. We need to dive into the data and see what the data is telling us here. At the end of the month or on a quarterly basis, you need to run some reports. Some practice do a month-end report, which they analyze provider productivity reports. Some providers facility analysis, if there's more than one facilities, to see how the practice is performing. For instance, we have days in AR, we have net collection ratio, we have facility analysis, we have insurance agent reports, we have no-show rate, and so forth. This has been my 10 blocks of the revenue cycle of the US healthcare system. If you are someone who is taking part of, or you work for a company that works with a US-based company, you need to understand the revenue cycle from start to finish. My name is Emmanuel. I thank you for stopping by the platform. This has been to you a mini clinic by Storwood Healthcare. This is our revenue cycle clinic. We're going to have multiple videos like this where you could learn from us. And I'm glad you joined by. Please share, subscribe, and any information that you need, drop me in my inbox. I'll be more than happy to share any information pertaining to the revenue cycle. My name is Emmanuel. This has been one of our little mini clinic session of the revenue cycle, and we're going to be bringing multiple videos like this in the near future. Again, thank you. Have a good day.